Is there? Okay.
I'm unopposed to the primary of Democrats, so I'm ready for
I'm running for the 9th District Court of Appeals. I'm unopposed to the Republican primary. I'll be on the ballot in November the 6th against the incumbent Democrat up for the 9th District Court of Appeals. So, take up any of your time.
Yeah.
It's Jennifer Hensel.
And the 9th District Court of Appeals
Covers Medina County, Wayne County, Summit County, and Lorain County. There are 5 judges on the Court of Appeals. Currently, that is composed of 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I've been picking up some mail from about Jennifer's campaign, and I'm very delighted that you dropped by to visit us. So, do we have any questions from the floor about the judgment?
Yeah, sure. What does a judge in the Court of Appeals do? Yes.
What does the judge in the Court of Appeals do? Okay.
It is the judge. This is a very good question because I bet most people don't know who the Court of Appeals judges are because it's not the judge that you're used to seeing. It's not the trial court. But what happens is of course, if you go to trial civilly or as a criminal defendant or prosecutor, and something happens in the trial court that was in violation of either the law or your rights, you have the right to appeal. The Court of Appeals is the court that will hear your case. The judges sit in each county once per month. There are 3 judges impaneled for every case. So, and basically the Court of Appeals, in my opinion, is the most important court in the state because that's usually the court of last resort for most cases. The Ohio Supreme Court is the highest court. However, they get to pick and choose whether they're going to take any particular appeal. So they take a very, very small fraction of all of the appeals from the trial court level. So it's the Court of Appeals, it's usually the court of last resort for all cases. I have a background in both criminal and civil law. I've been practicing law for almost 20 years now. I work for the city of Wadsworth part-time as assistant law director, but also as a part-time prosecutor. I was a part-time prosecutor in Medina. I have a private law practice in Medina Township. I lived in Medina all my life except for the last couple of years. I moved over to Summit County, so I'm currently living in Summit County. Born in Wadsworth, raised there. Most of my life, adult life, I lived out here in Valley City. So that was more than an answer to your question. His name is Claire Dickinson. It's a gentleman. My name is Jennifer Hensel, and you won't see, because I don't have an opponent March 6th, you won't see any yard signs, but we are actively campaigning. It's a huge campaign, 4 counties, but we're out there all the time. But you won't see any yard signs till just before the 45 days prior to November 6th. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I do, yes. I'll bring it to you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I think that does it today. Yes.
The state central committee races, how do you think things are shaping up, or do you have any feedback on that? You haven't done a poll on any of that, obviously, right? That's right.
Yeah, I'm a candidate. Sharon Ray is also a candidate running for State Central Committee. Oh, would you like to speak, Sharon?
I would like to speak. Jim and I are running for State Central Committee. We are. You're back there, Sharon. I know I'm short. Ask him to take it off.
Jim, can you hear me? Okay. Jim and I are candidates for the State Central Committee. We are those people. We are the people that the state party is trying to keep out. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with us, but the current, my particular opponent, who is currently a member of the State Central Committee, decided along with the committee that people who were certified to be on the ballot and people were already voting for, they ruled ineligible to be elected by you, the people. Sounds screwy? That's exactly what's going on. And that's part of the reason I'm in this. How many of you, I'm sorry by the way if my campaign is harassing anybody, I know that there are phone calls and direct mail pieces going out ad nauseum. But how many people have gotten cards from our opponents that are saying they're going to stop Obamacare? Tea Party values?
Yeah.
Working with Governor Kasich to make Ohio strong? What a crop. Sorry, but I'm going to call it as I see it. Quite honestly, the State Central Committee is advisory capacity to the state party operations. They have no legislative ability. They have no taxing ability. Everything that they say they're going to be able to do, they legally cannot. That's wrong, people. That is absolutely wrong. That's what drug me out of retirement to get on the ballot.
Thanks, Sharon. Appreciate that. I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that same way. We've got people throughout the state that are up in arms about what's been going on. And what's interesting is that once again, as happened in 2010, the estimates are that the party is expending in excess of $1 million to defeat Republicans. There's something wrong with that picture, especially in 2010, when the party didn't have money to really support its governor running for the top of the ticket, as one could expect. It did for the Secretary of State, but their support for the governor was a little bit weak. And as far as picking up the House of Representatives, helping Bill Batchelor to become Speaker, well, that's kind of a big thing, you would think, for the Ohio Republican Party. Oh, they were fresh out of money. They spent it all in the primary defeating Republicans. Wrong. So there's definitely a battle going on. DeWine is fighting for his life. He's becoming very desperate. We can expect him to continue learning from Barack Obama and using those same tactics. And we know that, well, Obama is a tax cutter, right?
Yeah.
And he's for the middle class, not the very rich and not the very poor, right?
And drilling.
Oh, and drilling. He's for drilling. Yes, he wants to get.
And for algae.
He's for algae.
Algae, yeah.
And this is what we're starting to see coming out of the Ohio Republican Party. They are one thing. They're passing amendments to keep Tea Party people out of the State Central Committee, and yet putting on their postcards Tea Party values. Misleading at best. So when is the dirt going to start flying? We've seen some of that in the presidential primary, and that's very unfortunate. But looking at the last few elections, we've noticed there's a very big a trend going on, especially in the October surprise, right before the end, where there's no opportunity to respond. Massive amounts of money to just bury an opponent and look what they did with Tom Gannon. Who knows? Maybe the Republican Party isn't above that either. Well, let's hope they are. But this too shall end. Right now, looking at the statewide slate, and we were able to find candidates for 65 seats out of 66. Not bad. The Ohio GOP chairman was able to find about 30. Those are not good numbers. Not good numbers. And we're looking at an easy majority. The problem is you've got to get to a 2/3 majority, or his term continues until the following January. If you've seen him on the TV interviews, he's made it absolutely clear he's going to be the chairman until January. And how is that? There's a little line in the Ohio Republican Party bylaws that says that the term of the chairman lasts until January of the year following the primary. Now, isn't that weird? That is super weird. That's like Barack Obama being replaced in November or defeated in November, but he still gets to be president until the following October. Ooh, how scary would that be? But that's what the Ohio Republican Party chairman has. He gets from March, when a new central committee is elected, and may elect a new chairman, until the following chairman before he has to decide. Very scary. So at any rate, we're focusing on the 2/3, and we're very close.
If you get the 2/3, then with the 2/3 majority, you can change that rule,
That's correct.
and you can make it where the new group comes in March, and whoever they vote as the new president
Exactly right.
becomes
If you got 2/3 vote, you can do whatever you want. Change rules, come up with new rules, replace the chairman, etc. Recently, they had a power play amendment where they tried to eliminate new Tea Party people from coming in, requiring you to have voted in the last 3 even year GOP primaries in order to be seated. Whether you won your election or not, they can deny you the seat if you haven't voted in the last 3 consecutive even year primaries. In Ohio, absolutely. And what's funny is Chris Grant knows somebody over in Lorain County that would have satisfied that rule, except that they had a primary in 2011, which doesn't count. So it doesn't matter if he voted in 3 consecutive, they have to be the even year primaries. So, oh, and by the way, there are still 12 people that would be affected by that. Many of you probably remember Owens, Robert Owens? Okay. He was the first attorney that volunteered his time pro bono to overturn the power play amendment. There have been several more. We're just kind of waiting until the damage is done in case somebody is, they try to deny somebody a seat. Anyway, that's what's going on with the State Central Committee race. And it's amazing. You really wouldn't believe it. Hopefully, this will be the last time we find the party and the rank and file of the party in opposition with each other. And certainly using party resources to defeat Republicans instead of Democrats. That makes no sense to me. Do you have any questions about that? I'm just going to wing it. Yes?
I think you know I'm not either one.
Let's go.
I'm American. But it's very frustrating because we're going from the state level all the way up to the presidential primaries and stuff with such a negative, everything's negative. You know, and I was listening to something, I guess I'm going to think the other day. You know, isn't this a form of verbal bullying from the president on down? I mean, it's just constant bickering and fighting, calling people names. We're teaching our children to bully. I wonder where they see this. But on the news, watching TV.
Yeah.
From our president of the United States all the way down.
Yeah. It's a sad thing, but the reason why they do the negative advertising, we've seen a boatload at the federal level, coming from the White House and in the Republican primaries between the candidates. The reason why we're getting so much of that is because it works. And it works because most of the voters are apathetic. I mean, we say that people should be able to go about their lives without fear of the government and spending all their time and energy and money trying to manage the government. But that's what they're doing. Most of them are uninformed, they're passive. And then when it's time to vote, they say, okay, time to vote. Well, let's see, I'll make my decision today. Whose postcards have I got? What's on the news? Oh my God, that guy was chasing that woman, that Cad Gadley. I'm going to vote against him.
It's turned off.
I think it's got the point.
It says they turn them off, and that may make them stay home from the polls. But when you see all that negative advertising that goes out, slamming somebody, Herman Cain was in town just yesterday. Ask him about the negative advertising. It works. It flat out works. And that's because we have not raised properly the American voter. They are not fulfilling their responsibility because they don't know they should. They don't care because they've not been taught to care. And that is our mission here. We need to get out and try to contact all those people we have not yet made contact with and give them a heads up. Excuse me, it's great that you're living your life well, working hard, raising your family, but there's something you're missing if you are not part of the solution in helping American people govern themselves. It's self-governance as well as self-determination that makes this country work. All right, stop that hand right here.
I just want to throw this out because I think it's worth knowing and understanding. I just read James Madison's a book about James Madison, about his whole political thing. James Madison is considered the father of the Constitution. He identified, and I think James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, they were working together. They actually created the first political party. And what I was surprised about reading that book, all the things we see today, they were going on then. Just as nasty, people are people. And what I'm getting at, and I just want you to understand, if you're going to be involved in politics, you're going to be dealing with it. It does seem to be really crazy, but for example, Hamilton, he was killed in a duel. At least that probably might be a good way for politicians to get rid of things today. But it enlightened me. The only thing that they weren't as nasty, and I'll put it this way. We put them up on pedestals and we talk about them and everything, but those guys, they were doing the same things. Networking, had their little, their groups working against each other. And, Madison, for example, his party, which originally, I think they were called Republicans anyway, they held power probably for about 20 plus years because they worked at it. And once they got control, they held it. So anyway, that's all I want to say. It's been going on forever.
Yeah, that's a good perspective. And, it's funny because we talk about the Tea Party movement, and it is very, very similar to what was going on a little over 200 years ago. Just amazingly similar.
Jim, I want to take one issue with what you said about Obama not cutting taxes. He did two big tax cuts. One, to prop up General Motors stock because he invested in his the Recovery Act for them. They paid, GM had record profits, but they paid no federal tax. That's where the profits came from. So it's coming out of our pockets, whether you bought a GM car or not. And General Electric's president supported him heavy and also supported his clean energy. Gee, they don't, or GE doesn't pay any tax either, federal taxes. So these are two big companies that Obama has in his back pocket. Thank you.
Okay, we are starting to run a little bit overtime here, so let me just...
I got in your link, you may have already mentioned it. Did you mention anything about Renese's thing this afternoon?
The big bird?
You mentioned anything about Renese's
Open house.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Jim Renacci has got an open house in Wadsworth this afternoon. Does anybody have the exact address?
It's on Smoke Rise.
150 Smoke Rise.
All right, good. Okay, that's the most immediate. He's got an entire schedule of activities today that we put out. And by the way, he'll be back with us 2 weeks from today. He's our guest speaker for the next meeting. Okay, Regional Tea Party fundraising meeting. No, that's the fundraiser on February 28th.
Yes.
The Dog and Sons. And
Right.
you've got tickets to sell? Then?
Right. I think most of you may have heard by now that 4 counties and the groups within are all helping organize the Tea Party in Niagara Falls. And we will have Quinn Rose speaking, possibly Joe the Plumber. We have Josh Rendell, Jim Renacci, and a few others. Should be pretty exciting. But as you know, these things, we require help. And there's 3 ways you can help. One for fundraising. We do have, I've got tickets here, $20 a piece for the 28th. That's on Tuesday. I believe it's Dog and Suds.
Great.
Also, we can use some volunteers in different capacities. You could work with greeting people or security and so forth. And then also, and most importantly, is just to participate. Please show up and show your support for the tea parties. Also, Chris has some T-shirts here for sale, and also she has some more decals. If you want to special order anything, she's got books.
Second Amendment.
Yeah, and also wearing T-shirts is a great way to get the word out that there are these different groups and active. Also, if you want to participate and help any candidates in precinct walking, boy, there's a bunch of those. In fact, Jim and I are doing a lot of walking. Michelle's been helping out. It's really a lot of fun to meet your neighbors and walk your own precincts. I think that's it. Oh, by the way, I heard that the Red McFan T-shirts are great on Fox 8.
What was that?
I had at least 3 people tell me they saw me in my shirt
Oh, really?
yesterday. Yeah.
And one reminder, don't forget, if you are a particular party, make sure you vote at March 6th. It's the last time I can remind you, because we won't be meeting until after March 6th.
That's right.
So make sure you vote at March 6th.
Let me make a
I
reminder.
definitely know who's running in your precinct for Central Committee. If you don't, make a call and find out and know who you're going to vote for.
Right.
Just going to remind everybody to vote for Jason Stevenson. Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Okay.
And if you need signs, we do have some signs. If you're having a hard time locating some, give us a call or email us. We'll look you up.
Right. Yeah, and we've also got some candidate literature and some pocket constitutions, et cetera, over here, so be sure to browse after the meeting. I think somebody has some new yard signs in here too. If you don't have one, be sure to get them.
They're for Jason Stevenson.
Okay. On February 29th, we've got a public forum going on about hydraulic fracturing. The environmentalist extremists have been very active in the last several months, are trying to shut down that potential source of energy and potential source of jobs in Ohio. So this one is actually being put on by the Medina Township. And we were trying to get that going ourselves, but just ran out of time to get it done. So we'll pick that on them. Yes, Jason. Yeah, sure.
I don't want to keep everybody, but I have to tell you, I was at the fracking forum meeting put on in Brunswick maybe 3 weeks ago now, and I'm not sure how many of you all heard about it, but it was very tough on Dave Hall and also on Adam Frater, who sat on the panel. A lot of these events are ultimately being put on by opponents of fracking, natural gas development. There are a number of, you could ask Larry Outhoff, and I had a discussion about this the other day, SEIU members there. It's a very coordinated group of folks to come and flood these meetings and really take them over. You know, whether you're for fracking or you're against fracking, it would be really nice to see some level-headed folks there who maybe have some real interest in the information. Common sense folks, thank you. You know, in general, I'm pro energy development and all those things, but I can tell you there were probably 75 people in Brunswick, and there were 4 of us sitting in the corner with our heads down, afraid of getting hit over the head with a baseball bat by these folks who were nasty. We had to help Dave Hall get to his car. It's bad. So my suggestion is, if you have an interest in this topic, or if you're part of that silent majority that's generally for this exploration, I'd urge you to show up, because it gets in the newspaper, it gets on the news that 90% of people are against it, when 90% of the people at these meetings are against it. And like I said, whether you're for it or you're not sure, I still urge you to show up and get some of the information, and to show that there is some majority out there that has a level head. A number of these folks come in from Chicago, they come in from Michigan, they come in from Columbus. It's a meeting held by Medina Township. So I urge you to attend if you can, because the last one was really tough on the folks that I think we respect. And need Adam is a good example. I think he's a friend of this group, and if nothing else, I'd recommend going to support his efforts at the county level. So sorry to...
Right. No problem at all. That is exactly what has been happening and why we're trying to get involved and counteract it. They do put on these forums. Sometimes they don't even have it balanced. It's just the anti-fracking side, and they show grizzly movies and etc. like that. But when they have these meetings, it's just not their core group. It's not their choir. They're trying to get the general public in and to bamboozle it, to instill in them the fear or even the conviction that fracking is going to cause damage. It's propaganda, and they are influencing people. So it's important that we get in there, ask our side of the questions, show that the herd isn't all going that way, so that people can not be fooled. That's me. The time is 6 p.m. at the Weymouth Country Club, and there are going to be 3 people on the pro-fracking side and 3 people on the anti-fracking side. So it looks like it's going to be fair and balanced if the audience is fair and balanced.
Yeah, there'll be a public forum, and they did that line out before we talked in people that came and their questions printed. They were handing out anti-fracking literature at the door. They're very well organized. Wednesday night at 6 p.m. I don't care if it's for or against it, virus, that folks always just show up, because it's really, it's one of the ask for anybody that you don't show. And so we can make it, it's way up in the club, Wednesday night at 6 p.m. I'm not a township, I'm not on the committee, but it's bad last time, every attendance.
Right, and we will have a table there, so we will be planning on handling out literature. Yes.
Is there a website where you can see property after fracking?
A website where we can see what now?
Is there a website where you need some pictures to actually see the inside and what fracking is? What is the other side
How a site looks after fracking? I would think so, but I don't know.
We said about someone who had a well, was it water? The water, everything started coming out of the ground. And it never happened